Hey there everyone on YouTube, it's Giles here. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. God, this is going to be a difficult video. It is so blisteringly hot right now. We're having a heat wave here in the UK, which of course we're not used to. We're not built for. Whenever there's a heat wave, all the other countries all the other hot countries go, "Oh, you call that a heat wave?" And it's like, well, your country is going to be prone to what it's not conditioned for. It's like you get some countries that have like flat roofs because they're not used to it raining at all, and then it rains, and they go, "Oh, bloody hell." And then all the other countries mock them, and it's like, well, if it doesn't usually rain, it's not the usual fear, is it? But my point is, heat wave, hot, nasty. I don't like it. Um, and I before hitting record, I had to do a belly check just to make sure that I was completely out of shot because I'm not wearing a shirt. I am wearing trousers though. I'm not some like mad, mental nude man that draws on the internet. And I can't have the fan on because I'm recording a YouTube video. I guess I could have maybe set it out far away, but for like an hour, I can endure it. I can grin and bear it. So, the last video was, I won't lie, it was a bit of a shock to me when I pulled forth Total Biscuit's name. And I think it's because it's, he's a person that I've got a lot of respect for, who's also no longer with us. And when you're to do a video like that, I think if I'd seen it coming from a distance, I would have wanted to think more about what I was going to say or what I was going to draw. But I think you could argue that it's as it came out is as I would prefer, given the nature of drawing random names from a hat and seeing what I can draw from them. However, it just makes me terrified about what I might draw next from the hat. And I have 20 new items for the hat today. You're very welcome to suggest new things down in the comment section, and you'll know if they get put in the hat because I don't put anything in the hat off camera. The last video didn't do too bad actually. I wasn't sure about it. I think I'm still a bit of an anomaly as far as the algorithm's concerned, but since I've been doing these videos, each one has kind of doubled in views, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to take that as a sign, to just sort of keep doing it, and which is good because I'm having fun. As I said before, it's not about the quality of the drawing. I think some of you know that I can draw better than how I've drawn in these things, but it's more like the lightning speed of it, like the drawing fast and just trying to, I don't know, amuse myself and hopefully amusing you in the process, or putting some of you to sleep, because I know some of you have taken to going to sleep listening to me, which in a weird way I kind of like that. I think to myself, like, well, as a bloke who suffers from like chronic anxiety and stuff like that, if someone's having a bad day or they're having trouble sleeping and I can help alleviate someone else going through a condition like that, I'm like, well, that's just cool. So I don't care what you do while you're listening to me. You might be working, you might be doing housework, I don't know. Me, I'm drawing. So here we go. Here are the new words and names and letters and people and things and stuff for the hat. I guess if you're going to suggest something, just put suggestion and then the thing that you're suggesting. And it can be a word, it can be a place, it can be a show, it can be a celebrity, it can be a household object. It can be absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. And you'll see some here. Obviously, the ones I can only put forward are the things that I like and know. But it would be fun to draw some things that I don't know, because as I said in last video, I'm not allowed to look up anything. So if I don't know, I've just got to guess what I think it is. And for those of you that like things that I hate, and bear in mind I hate most things, that could be terribly entertainment. You could just put down things in the comment section just to fuck with me. Enjoy. So, on with the new ones. Insane Clown Posse. They are rapping clowns. If you told people in the Dark Ages that that was going to happen, they'd be quite surprised. Weird Al Yankovic, because that would just be plain awesome. Donald Trump. We're not getting political. We're probably going to go back to the 80s when he was just a rich man, you know. Speaking of the 80s, cocaine. That would be a great subject. Draw cocaine. You mean the drug? No, I mean just draw something with cocaine in mind. Speaking of cocaine, Mark Zuckerberg. Because I think it would be great to draw the facility that built him. Grand Theft Auto. Do it. You can all enjoy my writing as well. I was taught how to write by a 2-year-old, and I just dropped He-Man. I like He-Man. He did wonders for the gay scene. Wednesday Addams. I haven't seen that show, you know. In fact, I took one look at it and quite rightfully hated it. But I like the Addams Family, and I would draw the Addams Family, but that's not as topical now, is it? So I'll just draw Wednesday Addams for fun. John Candy. John Candy, because he's John Candy and he belongs in everything. The Dudley Boys. If you know your wrestling, you'll know the Dudley Boys. The Hulk. God, I've written that terribly. I don't know if I'll recognise that when I draw it out of the hat. The Hulk. It looks more like the Hulk. There we go. The Hulk. Big, green, and full of beans. Game Grumps. Aaron Hansen and Dan... I can't remember his surname. Avidan. That? I think so. What's wrong with me? I know his stage name in his band Ninja Sex Party. That's Danny Sexbang. And then, of course, there's the third Grump. Well, the John, isn't it? Well, that's debatable. She-Hulk. My first wife. Of many wives. Harley Quinn. She's not one of my wives. In fact, I'm not actually that... It looks like Harky Quinn, doesn't it? I'm not terribly fond of Harley, but we'll see what we can do. Father Ted. Whoa, that's a wife and a half. Good old Father Ted. Now, the weird thing is, when I wrote this one, I'm not sure if I've done this one already. But we'll see. Octageddon by George Fan, who's the bloke that made Plants vs. Zombies. And he's got an upcoming game about stacking shit. Literally. So I'm looking forward to that. The Wolfman. Just, that's not the Wolfman. That's just the Wolfman. You know what I mean? Oh, you don't know what I mean. The Wolfman. Let's just chuck the Wolfman in there. Gordon Ramsay. I want to draw some kitchen nightmares. The Young Ones. The Young Ones. We've got some comedy going. And Dracula. Good old Dracula. In any capacity I see fit. You know, if it was like Bram Stoker's Dracula, then fair enough. If it was like Dracula from that thing, Transylvania House, Hotel, Transylvania, then there'd be that Dracula. But it's not. It's non-specific, all-purpose Dracula. That sounds like something Barry Scott tries to sell you. All-purpose Dracula. But yes, that's all I got for you. We're building up a few, but we need more than this. I told you. I've told you, mortal. I want this hat filled. I want this hat filled by Tuesday. Do you understand? Tuesday. No, it's I just wanted to say a random day, and Tuesday was the most amusing. Kids at school used to make fun of me for the way I said Tuesday, you know. They were like, no, it's Tuesday. And I was like, it's literally not. I'd realised that statistically there are more on your side, but I am correct. You bag of scum. Okay, so, how do I do this? Flatten the hat again. Flatten the hat. Like I said, I won't have to do this when it's filled to the brim. I'll just delve my hand in. I'm over here. Proof. See where my hand's coming from? I'm over here. I'm over here. I swear to God I didn't tart my wrist up because I knew it was going to be on camera. I wore that to feel breezy and depth-like. So I'm over here. I can't see what's over there. Do you believe me? I don't care. I don't have enough subscribers to make a scandal as to whether or not they believe me. Heart palpitations. Nerves, sweaty bacon skin. Right, I've got one. Bah. It's Space Marines. Space Marines. Space Marines. Now, Space Marines has been used in various things over the years because, you know, if you're a Marine and you're in space, they're going to call you a Space Marine. But I take the term Space Marines from Warhammer 40,000, and you should too. Because let's face it, ever since Space Marines blasted onto the scene, they're the only Space Marines you know. Like, if you Google Space Marines, Google them right now. Space Marines, who comes up? Is it the blokes from StarCraft? Is it that film that I can't remember its name? I can't even remember its name. So, you know, I can't even remember its name. So, didn't do that well. Can't have beaten Warhammer Space Marines. I think I can remember like the basic Space Marine helmet. Let's start with that. And they got these evil little eyes, little judgmental evil eyes that they used to judge people with. Let's see. And they got like a little thing like this, don't they? They do, don't they? They do. And it's like that. The problem is, like all mainstream nonsense, they redesign them every 5 minutes. But I think I can do this. We've got this. We've got this, fam. Jesus. It's like a thing goes over there, doesn't it? I mean, like the original Space Marines, they were really cool, but they've sort of become a bit over sculpted over the years, and I like the Rogue Trader ones where they were like really basic. This is giving me a headache just looking at what the hell I'm doing here. It's sort of like that. There he is. It's all gone wrong. There must be a way to fix this. There must be a way to move his eyes from there to... Oh no, hang on. I can do this. I shut up. I can do this. It was like, jeez Louise. Freeze the keys. God. How do I dress myself in the morning? You know, it really is quite striking. There. Oh, God. Don't use the windscreen wipers. You only make it worse. That, it looks like you got sunglasses on. I was only trying to outline that. Oh, no. Hang on. We can get away with this. Somehow. What I might do is pin it on you and say that you did it. Do they have ears? I don't know. I know, obviously not ears. They don't have like just a full-grown human ear sticking out the side of their helmet. But do they have like a little nugget that just, I don't know, little Mega Man nugget, you know? I don't know. This isn't a space marine. It's not even a marine. It looks like somebody thumped Mr. T on their head. It's a good thing I said that bit at the beginning about this not being about how well I draw, because it makes me look like I genuinely am not bothered by this whatsoever. You know, I'm chill and I'm relaxed, and you know, this Space Marine, this awful Space Marine, I'm chill about it, you know? The lack of perspective, you know, I think it's a good thing. You know, all Space Marines need a turtleneck sweater, apparently. That's just common sense. So I might as well talk about my personal experience with Space Marines. I was going to earlier, but apparently my awful drawing derailed that. So that's what I like to do in this. I like to draw the thing out. By draw, I mean take it from the hat. Take it from the hat. I'll tell you a little bit about my experience with it, and then we move on to distractions caused by the awful drawing. But apparently I started early today. So I had the first edition of Warhammer when I was a kid, and which technically is the second edition, because the first was called Rogue Trader. And Rogue Trader, although I've sort of browsed the rule book of it, it's I think it's sort of generally more role-playing based, and Warhammer 40,000 sort of converted it into a more tabletop war game where it's more army based. Although as they've redesigned the rules over time, because they want you to buy more models, they have greatly sped up how quickly units die, which means to have a longer, more meaty game, you need to buy more of their stuff. And you know, for me, that is one of the many reasons why I don't collect them anymore. You know, you got like the art style kind of lost me, because like back in the day they had more of the heavy metal art style, you know, like when I say heavy metal I mean, you know, like the heavy metal magazine, not just the music. And then they kind of lost that. It had more of a sort of became very clean. It's weird, like that's quite a common thing now. You know, in all fairness, they're just keeping up with the times, but like there's this weird thing where they market like something looking rough and dirty, but it's like a really clean dirty, if you know what I mean. Like you look at like WWE when they try and market like a, you know, a thug sort of character. They're like a really clean thug. It's weird, but I'm a heavy metal chap, and that is what I will always be. I haven't really decided what, because the different Space Marines have different things on their shoulders, don't they? I haven't decided what sort of Space Marine he's going to be yet. I'll do an Ultramarine because they're simple. Just have a giant horseshoe. That'll do. That'll do. And I don't know what the hell's going to be on here. I don't know. Because like nowadays they decorate Space Marines like Christmas trees, but back in the day there was a bit more of a limitation as to what you would find dangled off of your Space Marines. Well, he wants his backpack, doesn't he? They have that little backpack. Well, not little; it's massive. It's probably like in real life, it would be like twice the size of me. Although, do you know one thing that's only just occurred to me? I'm a little bit shocked that I haven't thought about it earlier. I collected the Warhammer Army Sisters of Battle back in the day. So, I don't understand why that's not in the hat. I mean, it might be because they have done a very good job of putting me off them. Like, they love their Latin bollocks. Like they're not called Sisters of Battle anymore. Like they're called the Adeptus Soriatus Operatus or something. It's ridiculous. So I see it. I'm just like, I'm not buying that. You are not having my money, you pretentious twats. Dear. But I'm trying to think. Like back in the day, I mean, everybody had a Space Marine. If you were collecting Warhammer at some point, you had a Space Marine army. But I collected space orcs because I love the idea of orcs in space, and Sisters of Battle. I swear to God, there was another army that has fallen out of my brain right now. Tyrannids, which some people call Tyranids, which offends my very soul. I think they're actually correct. It's Tyrannids. Some people think that I can see why they think that's Tyranids, but I just think, well, it's derived from the word tyrannical, isn't it? You don't say a tyrannical dictator, you know. I don't know. Maybe it's not derived, but that's just the way it looks to me. He's not very good. Well, this Space Marine. I'll put a scroll on his shoulder. Well, I mean, not like an actual, or maybe an actual scroll. Who cares? Maybe we should name him. I always liked naming the models back in the day because, I always thought that one of the greatest things that you can enjoy about a tabletop game or role-playing games and stuff like that is the unintentional stories. Like, say, like you have like a small army of like, I don't know, 2 squads, and you've got a commander, and you've named them all, and you've got one that's called Jim, normal soldier, and Jim, as you play multiple games with your friends, you notice like Jim, the randomly named Jim, is scoring particular kills quite a lot. Or, or he always dies in ridiculous circumstances. Or he always screws up in some kind of circumstances. It's just something formed by the dice that between yourself and your opponent playing, you start to form this bizarre narrative about this complete inanimate object who is completely animated in your mind. You know, he's suddenly painted out to be a hero or something to be feared, even though he is one unit in a squad of people whose rules are exactly the same. There's absolutely nothing that makes this character any different than the other people in his squad. But simply because you've given him a name, he's suddenly everything he does is in character. It's such a great anomaly. It's why it kind of sucks that, you know, units just get so wiped out so quickly now. I played a game like 2 years ago, and this dude had a squad of Chaos. That was the other army I collected. I had an army of Chaos Terminators, which Terminators are like the giant Space Marines. They're like, the Space Marines are these big, heavily armoured dudes, and Terminators are these even more heavily armoured dudes. And I had like a squad of them, and the person I was playing with was playing as some bloody hell, that was loud. Sorry, everyone. Was playing as some Latin bollocks. So I'm trying to mute. I'm reaching halfway across the room trying to mute the computer. There we go. Yeah, it was playing against some team that I couldn't even pronounce their name, like the something Oriatus and a Status and a Manatus, but I got Garfatus. And he just like rolled the dice, 4+. He tried to explain to me what was going on, but I didn't bloody understand. He was just like, oh no, I just need a 4+, and I'm like, oh okay, you know, and he just rolls it, and just like really calmly, just like we're talking like 10 Terminators. He just like takes them off like, yeah, they're all dead. And I'm just standing there like a little kid whose ice cream has just fallen off his cone, you know. I'm just like, what the actual dickhole just happened? You know, he's just like, yeah, no, they're all dead. And I was like, what do you mean they're all dead? Like, they're Terminators. They're like the toughest bastards on the planet. Like, you get a dice, and it's like 2+ armor saving throw. 2+. That's really high chances of still being alive, you know. And he's like, no, they're all dead. I'm like, why? And he's like, because, you know, my Adeptus Succus Coccus has lots of special rules that makes sure they're all dead right now. And I'm like, well, this isn't fun. This is like, I barely broke wind and half of my army is dead. You know, that's just horse shit. You know. But that's to me when I'm sort of like, I'm out. Like this game is less and less fun every time I play it. You know, and I used to like it sort of in the earlier days because, you know, one dice roll didn't delete an entire. Well, let's be completely fair about it. One dice didn't remove £40 worth of miniatures from the table, you know. Oh dear. It's funny because over the time, like, I built all these. I'm trying to remember like characters that I had that, you know, were named for. All I can remember is Lord Cornflake, who was a Chaos Lord. Because like you got in Chaos, you've got like the 4 factions of Chaos. You've got Sanish, Sinch, Nurgle, and the other one, Khorne, of course. and this was a Khorne Lord who I called Cornflake because, you know, humour. I had a Slaanesh Lord called Dr. Funhouse as well, who I when I was converting a miniature for him, he had a power fist, yeah, big electric fist that he punches stuff with. But I thought it would be really obvious to just put a power fist on him, so instead I put a jack in the box in his hand with a spring with a power fist on the end of it. And I actually had to argue with someone about that because he said it wasn't a power fist. I said it represents one. That's the same fucking thing, you know. Whatever happened to fun, you know? The fun police, they're out. I think this pen is dead, you know. I'll sit there trying to get the bleed. Oh, can I get anything out? No, there we go. I don't know who this chap is. Well, he's just a friend of his that's running out from the ship. I'll just do a cliff or something. I've completely forgotten where I was, you know. Oh yes, that was it. My chaos. Oh, I don't know why I've just randomly put a spike there. Maybe he's you know, he's thinking of turning to chaos. Let's see his backpack as well. But let's see, Lord Cornflake. He had a sword. He had a demon sword because it was just a demon living in his sword, and a set of wings. And he was quite infamous for like just flying at people, attacking them, and then being killed by the demon in his own sword. And like that's the sort of thing that I loved about the game. I think people talk about something called rules creeping, which like rules creeping is that thing that they bring out the new rule book. You know, like they'll bring out an army's rule book, and then they'll bring out the next army's rule book, and just it'll somehow be better, you know. And I never liked that stuff. I always liked. It's like I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, a campaign with a few friends of mine right now, and I just find it more. I find the game more entertaining if there are flaws to what I'm playing with, because I'm not there to win, I'm there for the story. And when you've got traits that can harm your own characters, it just makes it funny when it happens. You know, like at the moment in Dungeons and Dragons, I'm playing as a gnome called Jerome. And he's like a wizard that hates everything and everyone, you know. You're going to take some from your personal experience. And, but he's like forgotten. He has like this really like in-depth storyline of like this beautiful woman he once knew who died or left him. He can't remember. And like half the time you're just trying to give like the dungeon master fodder. And then you see like other players and they're like, you know, they've tried to craft someone noble and flawless, and they don't quite understand me, but you can always try. I'll be the one making the laughs. This is a bridge. This is a bridge that the Space Marines made to get to Walmart. I don't know. Not that we have Walmart here. We have Asda instead. They were bought out by Walmart. I don't know if I'm drawing build. I genuinely, I'm just trying to fill the picture up. Just trying to make it feel a bit more like a picture, as opposed to a piece of crap. Oh dear. Strength in numbers, my friends. Do you know what? That's gonna be a t-shirt at some point. Strength in numbers, my friends. Just a phrase like that in the middle of a very, very bad drawing. These don't even look like buildings anymore. They just look like... Actually, they look like giant windows, you know. Well, let's stick a door on this one just so that there's no the door. It's a door, Luann. Use it. Oh dear. Right. That's the sun. That's the sun peeping out from the place where the sun is. And these are buildings in the distance, I think. I don't know. Look, I only draw it. I don't have to know what it is. Maybe that would help half the time, but, you know, I'm only human. Oh dear. I feel a bit bad now. I feel like I've like trashed Warhammer in this video. Every time, like, I'm talking about, I'm talking about the good times and stuff like that, and then I'll just suddenly, I'll just suddenly like have a go at how the way they do it now, which I think is my standard format. I believe I did it with Batman, but nobody seemed offended. I'm trying to work out if I just sort of got away with that scot-free, or maybe the people that saw it all the way through were the people looking to go to sleep, and they fell asleep before I said anything bad about Batman. That's the dream anyway. But I got like a good number of likes on it, no dislikes as of yet, and it's like one of my highest viewed videos, which isn't saying much. Like that's literally like saying the turd I did yesterday is slightly darker than the turd I did the day before. I didn't really think this through. That there. And how about another almighty door? There. Windows. These are windows. You've got to believe me. I've got to get back to the future. That'll do. They'll do. I'm not going to do it for all the windows. They'll be expecting that. So I don't know what's. I don't know quite what the story is here. The Space Marines are here. There's this Space Marine, who there he is, Doug, the Space Marine. Space Marines don't wear name tags, in case you're wondering, but Doug does, because Doug is a G. I'll even put a G on his forehead. There, a G. He's a G Marine. He's a Genie Marine. If you rub him on the wrong side, if you rub him on the right side, he will fulfill all of your sordid fantasies. If you rub him on the wrong side, he will fulfill all of his sordid fantasies on your bottom or face. Let's see. This is not a very good bolt gun. Sorry, by the way, if I've dawdled back and forth between explaining Warhammer and talking like Warhammer. But in my defense, I have had this subject put upon me by me. I don't. I feel like there should be stuff here. It's there. Blah. All right, let's. That's a chasm. It's a chasm. There's holes. There's a hole down there. And it goes all the way out there. Does this mean Jim's standing in the chasm? He's crazy. He's crazy, that Jim. Never gives up. He never surrenders. Is he called Jim or is he called Tim? Maybe just some foliage. It's a little foliage. Foliage is like, you probably noticed this. Strength in numbers. Foliage is my little gift from the gods. I'm literally like, oh, just some little shards of grass. Just no one can stop me. Yeah, shards of grass. That will fill the picture up. Shards of grass. Shards of grass. Strength in numbers and shards of grass. There we go. I want a little shadow. Give him a little shadow. Oh, maybe thicken his footsteps. Because they're Space Marines. They walk heavy. Don't they have stuff on their knees, don't they? I'll give them a little U. It is there. See? Where is it? Who cares? Who cares? His arm's a bit fucked. Well, I mean, the whole picture's a bit, a bit on the wobbly side. Maybe like bullet holes, because he's tough. He's been shot lots of times, so he's a Space Marine. So he's like, there we go. I'm a Space Marine. Your bullets bounce off me like a dildo against a nun. She's just like, get away from me. What is this? Yes, Doug the Space Marine. That's not bad. I mean, the bar's quite low, but that's not bad. Yes, Doug the Space Marine. Moving on. Gee, I don't really have an idea for another. What are Space Marines? What do they do? Who do they know? What do they follow? What is their religion? Well, they believe in the Emperor, who is a man who is like dead, but not. Who's like, well, they've now brought out a model of the Emperor, and you can now play with the Emperor in the game, which is 7 tons of shit. I don't understand why the fuck they've done that. Like, the Emperor was always supposed to be this sort of, this intangible thing, like the Emperor was wounded in battle years ago, and he's on this giant life support system, and and is he dead? Is he alive? Who knows? And now they're just like, no, flashback storyline. You can now play as the Emperor, and you're like, oh, I don't wanna do that, It's like the Eye of Terror, where chaos come from. The Eye of Terror is a tear in the fucking space stuff, and it's supposed to be this thing of wonder and mystery and beauty and terror and awful and blood and disease and who knows what the Eye of Terror is. And then they brought out the Gay Knights. I'm sorry, I meant the Grey Knights. And like the one of the bosses for the Grey Knights, he goes on vacations into the Eye of Terror. He's like, I went to the Eye of Terror, I had a fight with the Skull Taker. It was great fun. And I'm sort of like, well, there goes the mystique. Apparently this intangible tear in the universe, you can now just go in there, just go for a day trip. Like, that's one way to throw up on your history. Jesus. Alright, that's, we could draw Grey Knights. You never know. Grey Knights were good until they weren't. Like like I said, Grey Knights were around in like the first, well, the second rules rather, of Space Marines, and they were like a special squadron that you could take with your Space Marines. They were like this rare chapter, that rare, mysterious, enshrouded in mystery chapter, until they brought out a book that just sort of said you can now take millions of them. They have kind of. There's a theme here, isn't there? The destruction of Mystique, not the singer or the woman from X-Men, but they sort of the mysterious factors of their. I always sort of think that's mysterious things are like the best parts of storytelling, like Final Fantasy VII. Like how it was supposed to be like 5 discs. And then I don't know the exact story, but I think it was like budgeting or something, made it so they couldn't finish the game. So they had to like squish it into like 3 discs. And now you've got like flayed bits of storyline that don't kind of finish themselves properly. And so they're left up to interpretation of the player. Of course, they're going to try and do as little of that as possible in the remake, because everything's got to make sense now for the incredibly daft. Fucking, I'm such a miserable bastard. It's like someone announced there was the remake of Final Fantasy VII. I think like the sequel or episode 2 is coming out. I was like, episode 2? What you mean? They didn't fucking finish it the first time? I mean, Jesus Christ. Space Marines. We're not talking about Final Fantasy VII. We're talking about Space Marines. The splendor thereof. Some of them have those cone helmets, don't they? The pointy ones that look like they can burst their foes. Right, well, let's just draw a cone and we'll go from there. I'll draw the cone slightly smaller, just so that it'll... This has already gone wrong. Evil Eye. Looks more like a shark man. I think they got like lines there, I think. And a little diddly-do there. This is really quite terrible. No, new breed of Space Marine. Chapter, I mean. This is the Shark Marine. The Shark Marine, they are the most aquatic of all Space Marines. In fact, some call them Marine Marines. Give him his shoulder pad. This pen is getting a bit tight. I have the other one over there, but this one keeps on coming back to life and then dying again. But I kind of like it when it's dying, because it gets all sketchy. And by that I mean you can sketch with it. Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to buy a big pack of these, and then I really don't know what's going on here. This is the worst Space Marine in the history of Space Marines. I just picked the other one up, but at some point they swapped in my hand between the short time it took me to go over there and come back here, and now I don't know which one is which. We'll have to see. That one took some welly to get the cap off, so this might be the one. It is the one. Right, draw the bolt gun, and hopefully if the bolt gun is good, the butt is way past his hand. It's all right. Who says he's firing it? He's carrying it. And there's usually like a little right, do. Right, see, everything's gonna be all right. Everything's coming up, Giles. Little albatross. That's not an albatross. That's a funeral. I'll just colour in. Oh, I don't care. With the clip. There we go. I'll put a nugget hand here. He's holding it like that. Stop laughing at me. It's bad for my self-esteem. Right. So there. And his other nugget hand be over there. I got it. He is a all the other Space Marines laughed at him. They go, what a stupid Space Marine. But he's like the little Space Marine that could. You know, he looks ridiculous, he's daft, no one likes him, he's quite stupid as well. But somehow he saved the Emperor from indigestion. He came in saying, Emperor, have some Rennies. And the Emperor was like, verily, yeah. He was making him a blood angel, because I hate blood angels. And it will do, you know, he's obviously one of them. Because he's crap. Oh, give him a cape. Some Space Marines have capes. We don't know why. I would love to see Space Marines discussing the need for a cape. But mind you, who doesn't want to hear that conversation in so many fantasy stuff? You know? Might as well have him in front of the troops. Do I really want to go down that rabbit hole? Because that would mean drawing a lot of Space Marines here. Well, if you think about it, if I get the detail for these ones here, they don't have to be as detailed and fine crafted as this. Then the ones behind it, I can just draw them really quickly. And, what do we say? Strength in numbers, isn't it? We're in this together. If this goes wrong, I'm blaming you. So, they'll be along here. And, maybe... maybe like a banner. Like what do they call them? Standard bearers. Standard bearers. That reminds me of my biggest gripe with Warhammer. The deletion of Makari the Gretchen. I swear to God, if I ever have my druthers, I'll have my own, like, you know, Bruce Willis style movie tracking down the person whose decision it was to remove Makari the Gretchen. Now, if you don't know who Makari the Gretchen was, he was a Rules 2 character. And by that, I mean the first iteration of the name Warhammer. And he was the bodyguard of Ghazghkull Thraka. Now, Ghazghkull Thraka is the Orc war boss, the big cheese, the big space orc, big knob, big penis lord king of all. And if you don't know, a lot of Warhammer people realise that Ghazghkull Maguruk Thraka is actually a parody of Margaret Thatcher. That's where his name comes from. So they basically made Margaret Thatcher out to be a big orc. Fair enough. But Makari the Gretchen was Ghazghkull's little friend, who was like a little Gretchen that followed them around, standard bearer, holding a banner, just like what we're drawing here, but, you know, obviously designed a hell of a lot better. And Makari was essentially useless. He had no weapons or anything like that. But he had a special rule, which was incredibly good luck. And incredibly good luck gave him a 2+ invulnerable save. And I know that, like, invulnerable saves in Warhammer don't mean an awful lot anymore, because there's so many items that are like, that are like, this weapon gives you no saving throw, even if you have an invulnerable save. And then it started going on with, this is the super saving throw that you always get, even if the attacking item says you don't get an invulnerable save. Makaros back in the day when invulnerable saves were a rarity and they were still sacred. And he just, he's just an annoying little pointless character that just wouldn't bloody die. And it was incredible fun as a character. And they just got rid of him for no reason. They were just literally like, this show ain't no good. Did I just put a belt on a Space Marine? I believe I did. I've forgotten how the legs divide from them. I'll just give him a crotch plate. There we go. Hung like a donkey. But anyway, there was a Chaos Orc army that I put together at one point. And the army was called Makari's Revenge. And had a war boss on it that caused more arguments because somebody said you can't do that. See, I always like messing with the rules for Warhammer, because I always think if you just get something that's liable for something, and actually to be fair, especially in the later years, they are cool with that. Like, like instead of say there's a special character called Marneus Calgar, say if you don't have his model, or you've made a cool looking Ultramarine special character looking character, you can just count him as Marneus Calgar. It's the whole creative outlet thing. So I had a character who was literally called Makari's Revenge, who was the war boss of the army, and the design of it was, obviously the whole idea was that Makari, I think I'd come up with the idea that Makari was, he was no longer in the game because he'd fallen to chaos, and this army of Chaos Orcs had a robot orc that was built by Makari and driven by Makari. I'd love to show you the sketches at some point, because it's like this big, tough-looking robot orc, but his head was like open top, which was like a cockpit where Makari was sitting. So you got this little goblin-like character driving this thing, and so that was the war boss. And I remember somebody being rather unhappy about that. I mean, I literally built him using Ghazghar Thraka, who was who I was posing the unit to be used as. Thankfully, I did win that argument. But that's why you don't argue with me. I am relentless. To be fair, there were a couple of people that were just like, well, it's in the rules, you fool. But that was good fun. I suppose this dude's going to have his gun by his side too. He's giving a thumbs up, this one. He's literally like, hey, I know you're a really bad looking Space Marine, and I am. He looks like a skull, doesn't he? Skull Man. He's like, yeah, you're a badly designed Space Marine, so am I. Together, strength in numbers, my friend. This is like the definition of strength in numbers. I'm basically going to draw a shitload of awful Space Marines, but all together they form a functional army, one that even the Emperor would go, my God, this makes me hard. It does, because I am the Emperor of the Space Marines. Now we need another one. This is, oh God, we're nearly on the hour. Well, we've got to pick up the pace. Head there. Yes, that's how we're doing it now. Head there. He's got a bit of a. Let's give this one a mohawk. Yeah, he'll be a pointy face, and we'll give him a mohawk. Ooh. Ooh. And this. Yeah, I reckon 2 more. I reckon. Some of them don't actually have their helmets on. Some of them are just like, so just make him a happy little sausage. And then 1 more over here. See, we've reduced the quality of these ones, which means there's less pressure to draw them well. And I'll tell you what, we'll draw some of the foreground. They're not bald men, they're eggs. I mean, they're not eggs or bald men, they're Space Marine helmets. And just look, just shut up. Just you know, no one asked you. You know, just enjoy the show, and that's it. There we go. Draw one a little bit forward from the rest. This is just to illustrate what the rest are. You can use backpack. It's a whole lot of fun. Prizes to be won. Nobody's seen this. That'll do. It really won't do, but it's the best we got. Now, unlike him, let's remember to put their bloody guns in front of them, because if their guns are in front of them, that's less for me to draw. That gun's pretty bloody massive. It's a heavy bolter. Bolt guns. This one's a lefty. Oh no, he'd be a righty. It's the only righty in an army full of lefties. I'll just give him his. Oh, we might as well, while we're here, while we're young. Yes. I'm trying to think of what other Chaos War bosses I had back in the day. Because there was Lord Cornflake. Lord Cornflake, he was the crazy dude with the crazy sword that killed his crazy self. Lord Flankman. Flankman was the Nurgle boss. He just had a giant machine gun and killed everyone with it. As you know, as Chaos War bosses go, he was fit for purpose. He did what was expected of him. See, it's Dr. Funhouse. There was one. I think it was a champion. I don't think he was a. I don't think he was a lord. There was one character of mine had like a set of wings. Might have been Lord Cornflake, but I remember like at one point they revised the rules and made like a bunch of my models obsolete, and I was so pissed off. Because you know, like the thing is with the Warhammer, I don't give him a beard. I don't buy stuff relentlessly, you know. And I don't want to be a person who can afford to do that, you know. If you've got enough money to spend on Warhammer regularly, you have too much money. you need to do something else, you know, because they're onto you. I don't even know why I'm doing this. He's got a it's like an awful bearded Rambo. Shoulder pad Jim. That's what his name is. Shoulder pad Jim. For the Emperor. Oh, Lord Deadweather. He was the, I don't know how you say it, Tzeentch. They're the magical people of the Chaos Army. He was like the only. Apparently, he was the only bloke that I had that wasn't, you know, created for laughs or anything. I just I had a character called Lord Deadweather, who was a big, scary wizard man, and he killed people by, I don't know, doing what wizards do, exploding their heads or what have you. I think like I was always quite taken by the Chaos Army in Warhammer because of that whole Eye of Terror concept. It's like it opens up so much sort of creativity for what your characters can be like, or you know, it's like there was the Chaos Orc Army that I put together, and there was a Chaos Sisters of Battle Army that I drafted, but I never built it, never did anything with it. But I think as time went on, I got into my own writing, and you know, a lot of my own writing was born. Well, a lot of the art I do in general was born from being hacked off with the way, with the way that a lot of the things I like went. You know, and I know they're in my heart, through all my moaning, I know they're just staying relevant and stuff like that. But I just I wish that there was a better compromise they did with it. But that's that. I think we're. This isn't turning out too bad. Got one more over here, and he's partially obscured, but he kind of had to be here because of the whole layout of the thing. Let's give him a little nugget hand. Oh dear. That'll do. Now we're going to have outlines just behind. Maybe not. Just representations of other people. And that would involve more feet. Maybe it would draw a bit of feet. Starts to look a bit more it's so weird how when you get like tricks to drawing, it's like in 3D. Like I always sort of say, like when you're depicting like stuff in 3D on computer, you'd be surprised how little. Say you're depicting some impact, for example, you'd be surprised how little. Say if you like rendering like a punch or something, you'd be surprised how little the punch literally needs to connect with what it's punching. It's all about perspective. It's all about the sails, a term that I'm taking from wrestling. you know, you've got to sell what the impact is. And then we draw like, you know, one or two little bit more visible stuff. And again, that's like it's almost like a memory technique at this point. Oh dear. Okay, that's not too bad, is it? Maybe just something like that, just to imply a circle. So, Latin bollocks. Latin bollocks. Eurus, Aris, sworn us by the Emperors, and Bulbagius. No girls allowed in Space Marines. Apart from that white dwarf one that they're trying to bury the shit out of. Oh, grass. You gotta love a bit of grass. Everybody loves a bit of grass. And maybe some a little bit of shade up there. Just, I don't know. It's not my fault. All right. This is. Wait, what did I call the other one? Did I call him Jim? I was going to call him. We'll call him BJ. The Emperor really likes him. Oh dear. So, only 2 for this one, for Space Marines. But, I'm alright with them, to be honest. This is just Doug. You know, you can't really argue with Doug. He's a simple man. He's just Doug. Everyone knows Doug. Hey, Doug. There's Doug. I don't know who he is. He's most probably Doug too. Because Space Marines are clones, aren't they? And just they're running out of Latin names. So it's like Doug. This one's probably Doug 2, and it's short for Dougalolis. Dougapolalamolis. Astartes. Esteptes. Astaptu. But bullshit. And then this is BJ's last stand. Well, actually, you know, he's not really about to die. I pictured him more as he's addressing the troops. He's saying inspirational. He's saying, "Gentlemen, I may have a grotesquely large head and a skinny Kermit the Frog body, but I believe in you, and I believe we can win this war. The Emperor believes you can win this war. I may be grotesquely deformed, but damn it all, I can fight." Anyway, take care of yourselves, everyone on YouTube, and I'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.